All right, it's another edition of the Loaded Radio podcast. And how are you? It's Scott Penfold here with you. And on the podcast this week, I'm going to be talking to Paul Crosby. He's the drummer from Saliva. Yeah, what's been going on with Saliva lately? Well, we're going to find out because we're going to be talking to Paul in just a few seconds right here on the podcast. And as well, coming up in the second portion, as usual, I'll be joined by Loaded Radio's own Johnny Rude to talk about the week that was in hard rock and metal and just go over all the big stories of the week and keep you updated with everything going on in hard rock and metal. All right, but first off, we're going to talk to this guy here. He's a longtime drummer for the band Saliva. Now, Paul Crosby has been the drummer for Saliva for 21 years now, joining the band in 2000. The band has released a music video for After Me following the 20th anniversary of their second album, Every 6 Seconds. That came out back in April of this year. But we're going to talk right now to Paul Crosby and find out what's happening with him and with Saliva, of course. Paul, thanks so much for joining me on the Load Radio podcast this week.
Absolutely my pleasure, man.
Before I get into things, I guess, obviously, just coming out of the pandemic, it's been one hell of a year and a half, especially for musicians. What have you been up to? I know that you've been working with a lot of new bands, but what has been going on in your life?
Well, I started a management company a few years back that I've developed into something pretty cool. It's called Paul Crosby Management. And then I also, last year, I started my own record label, Imprint. So I manage some really good up and coming bands. And then I also have some of those bands plus some other bands that I don't manage on my label. The label's called Pack Groove Records, PACGROOVE. So, I mean, that's been keeping me pretty busy, man. And then on top of, obviously being in the band and touring with that, I got my hands pretty full, man, but I stay busy.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear it, man. And it's really cool that you're helping out a lot of other bands out there, too. Getting into, of course, your work with Saliva. There was talk about a reunion with Josey that was set to happen in 2020 into 2021. Is there any further talk of that? What's the status of that right now?
Actually, we've done, there has been several interviews and stuff like that with Wayne Sweeney of the band and stuff to clarify that all up. That was possibly in talks for a minute, and then COVID hit and all kind of other stuff, and situations changed. So pretty much that's off the table now. I mean, there's no hard feelings with anyone or any type of drama or anything like that. It just people decided to, against it. So at least at this time, that's definitely not going to happen.
Well, how about former guitarist Cristo Baldo? Is there any chance of working with him at all in the future?
I mean, I wouldn't ever rule out anything in the future. Nobody knows what the future holds on anything. It just in life in general. But as of right now, we are the same lineup that we've had for quite a few years now, and that's the way it's going to continue on. No plans of any lineup changes or anything.
Now, when it comes to the current lineup of the band, what's going on right now in the core of the band? Like, what do you guys got planned? What's happening?
Well, I mean, our schedule for the rest of the year, touring wise, was pretty solid. We released, went back in the studio and remade some of the songs from our debut album, Every 6 Seconds.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. And we released it under the title Every 20 Years because it's a 20-year anniversary of the record. So we released a couple of videos for some of the songs too. We're actually just now releasing physical copies to it, but it's only available on vinyl and cassette, believe it or not. It's really pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
Pretty cool item. Obviously, everybody gets their music digitally pretty much these days, but it is pretty cool to have little memorabilia things like that, so
yeah, it is cool. Now why the decision to record every 10 years with Bobby redoing the Old Saliva Tracks?
Well, we wanted to commemorate the anniversary of the original recordings, so it was more of a way to just kind of honor the songs and give something to the fans too as well. That's pretty much the skinny of it. Just kind of celebrating the anniversary.
Now, back in April, of course, the band released a music video for After Me, following the 20th anniversary, of course, which we're talking about just now. Is there any more media coming out possibly, or talk about why the band dropped that video at that time?
Well, that again also was just coinciding with the, we did several different releases, and it was all coinciding with the 20th anniversary thing.
Yeah.
Kind of just promo for that. And as far as future goes, we're as far as redoing any of the old stuff, that was kind of like a one-time deal for the anniversary thing. So we're more focusing on writing new material and stuff, and putting something probably new out next year.
So has that process begun of already writing new material?
We all are constantly writing individually. I mean, so the process is always technically happening, but we haven't actually like got in a room and started throwing each other's ideas out and seeing whose of what's we're going to use yet. But
right.
But we're all religiously writing pretty much constantly.
Well, it's one thing about the band is it's just seeing it as its history and what it's been through. Even like back in 2018, you had left the band for a while. I mean, after 18 years, you of course returning. What had happened in 2018 where you had walked away?
Man, lots of things. Burnout,
yeah,
for one. Just different situations present themselves at certain times, and it just. I don't know. It just kind of was what it was, Yeah. No, you know what? I get it. I completely get it. But obviously returning, you realized your place was behind that drum kit though. Yeah. Yep. There was no drama or nothing like that again in that whole situation. And then, after a while, it was really refreshing being at home with the family nonstop. Really enjoyed that. And then after a while, you start going, man, I kind of miss being on the road. And then, then obviously me and the band stayed in touch constantly. I would actually go to some of their shows when they were in town and stuff. Sure. Then one day Bobby was just like, hey man, how you feel about coming back out on the road? And I'm like, you know what, let me see if I can shuffle some stuff around. And, and then obviously, when you go back out and you play again and you're on stage, you go, yeah, this is actually where I'm supposed to be. The good news is now we don't really tour as much. Obviously we tour a lot, but we're doing like weekend runs, or we'll go out for a week here and there. We're not really doing we're going out for 3 months in a row grind anymore. So
right.
That helps with the burnout, and for everyone in the band, not just myself. How
is the feeling in the band? Is there a great dynamic? Is there like a great energy going on?
Dude, honestly, this is the best, yes, there's a great chemistry, and this lineup that we have had now for quite a while, it feels, there's no drama, there's no issues, there's no nothing. It just feels like it should be, you know what I mean? So, nice. That's very, pleasant anyway, to say the least.
For you personally, is there still a relationship with Josey or Chris?
Yes, absolutely. There's no animosity between any of us. We, Josey isn't really he doesn't really do like the Facebook social media stuff. I talk regularly with his wife, Kendra.
Yep.
We keep in touch that way. So yeah, I mean, we're all friends. There's no animosity there whatsoever.
Now, are there any bands out there right now that people really should check out that you think that, this is a band people got to hear?
I been working with a band called Silent Theory for about the past almost 3 years now. They'll actually be on the Danny Wimmer Festival, Incarceration, on September 12th. Check them out. That would be probably my number one. I've got a bunch of great bands on my management and label roster. Yeah. But right now, they have a pretty good buzz going. I would definitely recommend checking them out.
Nice. What kind of sound are they?
I don't really like to put labels on things, but they're a rock band to me. I think they're relevant. Let me put it that way. They sound very relevant.
Awesome, man. No, that's cool. Is there a website for the band or something like that? Or
yep, silenttheory.com, and then facebook.com/silenttheorymusic.
And say people want to like just keep updated with what you're doing, Paul. I mean, where can people reach out to you?
I keep like my personal Facebook stuff kind of on the low, but my Paul Crosby Management, Facebook.com/Paul Crosby Management.
Yep.
People, especially bands that maybe want to submit stuff to me or just send me stuff to check out or anything, can definitely hit me on that Facebook.
That's awesome. Paul, I can't thank you enough for taking the time for talking to us today here on Loaded Radio, man.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
No worries, Paul. Take care, pal.
All right, bye.
And there he is. That is Paul Crosby, longtime drummer for the band Saliva. And there you go. That's what's happening. That's the up-to-date version of what's happening in the world of Saliva to keep you updated. But I'm Scott Penfold, and we are now going into the second portion of the podcast. As usual, I'll be joined now by Loaded Radio's own Johnny Rude. He's down there in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we're going to be talking about the week that was in hard rock and metal. Johnny, what's going on, buddy? How are things?
Not much. I just, doing whatever I do during the week here, man.
I guess you and I are missing Enough is Enough tonight.
Was it tonight or last night?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
That would have been fun.
No, dude, I've seen them before, and yes, it is fun. But all I know is this COVID bullshit is coming back, and it's brutally bad here. And I heard a bunch of the staff is out with COVID.
The staff? What, from Vamped?
Yeah, I've heard, the rumors fly, right?
Yeah. I know that I was seeing on the news that Nevada is like really getting hit bad. I thought everybody had their shot down there, man,
Oh, fuck no, dude. It's only like fucking 40% of the people got the shot here. It was looking amazing, and I was happy. Everything was looking good. Mm-hmm. I mean, I went down earlier. I was lined up with thousands of people. They had, it was Cashman Field. You lined up and you went inside. This was back in February, March. And, it was kind of cool out. You had to put a jacket on. And I was like, wow, this is cool, man. People are doing this. That's what you're supposed to do. Excellent. Yeah. No, dude, it fucking looked good, but it sucked. Only 40% of the people here. And, they're starting to get it again. I mean, maybe I should get it. I don't want to get sick. Or the hospitals here. We at our highest point, we're up at 20-something%. And then we knocked it down to like 3%. Yeah. That's the case count and the percentage of people getting case per whatever the population is. And dude, 2 weeks ago, it was back up to 18. Now we're back up to 20%. The hospitals are full. People are dying again. And it's just these idiots will not get vaccinated.
So now hold on. Is this the variant or is this the actual like?
It's coronavirus. It's called the Delta variant, the mutated version of it.
Yeah.
But it's still COVID. It's COVID-19.
Yeah, it's COVID-19. So that's what's nailing these people, I guess. Is it the Delta variant?
Everywhere. And that's what you're getting there. Yeah. And there were 96 cases yesterday in Toronto. You guys were down to 2 or 3 a couple of weeks ago. This is 1,200 times more contagious than the original version. So they're going through the alphabet. The first was Alpha. Now this is the Delta. There's another one that's coming out. It's going to be the Lambda. And it's from somewhere, I think, South Africa.
Revenge of the Nerds. Lambda.
Got it. Lambda. And I made a joke of that, but that's, again, that alpha, beta, kappa, high sort of thing. Right. There's another one coming out from Colombia, and it's in Florida. And the problem in Florida, this governor does not mandate, doesn't want anyone wear masks, doesn't want kids to wear masks, doesn't want anybody. He doesn't give a shit. He's looking for herd immunity with you getting the virus as opposed to stopping the virus. He doesn't give a shit. And it's
he's like the mayor from Jaws.
Yeah, he's a goof, dude, is what he is. He's a goof. And it's
you yell Barracuda.
Yeah. And it's too bad. It used to be that, that 6 foot rule, so it's nothing. That you could be 20 feet from somebody and you'll get it. And you get it instantaneously. Your body absorbs it within seconds from breathing it. So it's horrible.
We're talking about this, which is really going to lead us right into the fact that Limp Bizkit, they just canceled the remaining dates of their tour because of health and safety concerns. Now, they didn't say specifically that somebody had got COVID, but it's sounding like somebody could have caught COVID-19 in the camp. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they said, apparently a kid was talking to someone after the show.
Fred, he was talking to Fred.
Talking to Fred Durst, and they're saying Fred Durst said Wes Borland caught COVID. Yeah. And, hey, dude, I mean, who cares? Don't be ashamed of it. It sucks if you catch it. But he's saying, Fred Durst is saying Wes Borland did not catch COVID. Who gives a shit if he did or didn't? But they are canceling these tours because, let's be safe about this. Look at Corey Taylor. His tour all got canceled because a bunch of his staff players or guys in his crew caught COVID. I know.
Were they supposed to play in Vegas tonight?
Yep, or last night, and they canceled the show because of this bullshit, dude. I would not go down to House of Blues in the basement of Mandalay Bay. Who knows what is lurking down there? I mean, it's a great killer venue, but not with people, dude. Breathing and huffing and puffing. Come on. No, dude.
No, I get you, man. And like even some of the bigger venues, I'd be kind of concerned at this point.
I have tickets for Guns N' Roses. I want to go to this so bad. It's at the end of August.
Yeah.
I don't know what the heck's going to happen. I personally would love to see it postponed.
Just for safety's sake.
Just for safety, dude. That's all it is. It's gone so bad. And you're in a stadium. Sure, it's huge, but you've got 60,000 people in there.
Speaking to that, I really like what they did in Chicago for Lollapalooza. It was very strictly mandated to get in. You either showed a negative test result or a full vaccination, and it went off without a hitch. It actually went very well. I mean, it hasn't been really that long yet, but from what we understand, it was a successful way to do an event amidst the pandemic.
I agree. On paper, it looks great. It seemed great. Let's wait and see what happens in 2 weeks, buddy.
For sure.
You got, well, maybe now quicker depending on this thing, but I looked at pictures. They had some overhead drone shots. Oh my God.
Yeah. But again, to get in there, you had to have the paperwork.
Right.
So again, we'll see what happens though. We'll see. I mean, if that's what it takes, that's fine, man. I mean, I don't get the big issue like you and I were talking about previously. I don't see the issue. I want to go to concerts. You want to put a needle in my arm just to make sure that I'm going to be okay so that I can go and see live shows again. By all means, bring it on. You know
that's
what I mean?
The whole thing. And these things are safe and effective. 4 billion people around the world have got shots, whether it's Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, whatever, and it doesn't matter. There's something there. And you've got 160,000 Americans got it. I think 50,000, sorry, not 160 million Americans have got it. And I think 60 million Canadians. Am I correct? Somewhere on that?
Something like that, yeah. Something
like that. A lot. My point is, I think if anything was going to be wrong with these vaccines, you'd be seeing that. They've been working on these for 20 years, this mRNA stuff, and they're successful. They do their jobs. They're not changing anything in you. They're saving your life is what they're doing. If it takes showing a vaccine card, that's what I thought initially was going to happen. To fly, this virus needs a host and it needs to move. So the host is the person. When that person moves, whether it's going to a grocery store or traveling 4,000 miles to another country, that is why it is spreading. And so I thought for sure the airlines, but again, it's all about money. We got to get people and this rights, my rights. Show a goddamn a vaccination card that you're safe to travel. Let's do that. Let's make it happen. Let the vaccinated people win here, because that's the point. These unvaccinated people, they don't want to play the game. Screw you. Sit over there in the corner, and you can't do this stuff. You can't go to concerts. You can't go to restaurants. There's got to be a little bit of burden put on these people, because we're taking all the burden. They need it's being responsible. Again, like I said, when we were kids, we all got vaccinated. There is no polio. There's no smallpox and all this stuff. It's gone because of science. Yep. And that's what this is, dude. Science.
Just to switch gears, though, I did want to ask your thoughts on the passing of Joey Jordison.
I've read lots. I've thought about it. You know, when you first hear about the passing of someone that, I don't know the guy, but I've met the guy. I've hung out with the guy. I've had some drinks with the guy. He was cool. And they still don't know what happened. The autopsy, they haven't found out what's happening. But if you talk to members of his last band, he did have some demons.
Sinsanum, it was a death metal band.
Yeah, he did have some demons. And in my personal opinion, where there's smoke, there's fire. I've heard about that. Yeah. He got released from Slipknot for reasons. They said he was fired, and then he said he had a disease, which he did.
He did. But there were other things that the band couldn't talk about. I mean, I know for a fact because I spoke to Corey Taylor about it. Like there were things that just couldn't be brought up. And I mean, and so that would obviously lead one to assume, right?
Sure. And so it's funny you brought this up and it posed this question to me. I have thought about it, and he was 46 years old, and the accolades that he did, he basically, he was the guy who brought blast beats into the commercial realm, for hard rock, metal, whatever you want to say. He was that guy, that extreme drumming that I kept talking to you about years ago.
Yeah.
He was the forerunner of it.
Him and Gene Hoglan. Yeah.
Yeah. Gene Hoglan. Great. There's George Callias. All these guys. But when you say into the mainstream, Gene Hoglan's not mainstream.
No.
Joey Jordison is mainstream, dude. I mean, they sold millions of records. Nothing against Gene, great drummer, and he's been around a lot longer than Joey too.
Yeah.
But Joey was the guy who brought blast beats to the mainstream and extreme drumming to where it is now. So yeah, I've thought about him passing, and it's a damn shame because there's a lot more that he could have done. But I think with certain people, things happen, things change, and you don't maybe realize what's happening to you or what you're doing. And if it's, again, we don't know, but let's assume you get into drugs, dude, and it just screws you up, and it ruins your life. It
destroys your life,
your career. It ruins your relationships. It basically, so yeah, for him to die like that and go down that way, it's terrible. And like, people tried to reach out to him, people tried to help him. For some odd reason, you can't get through to these dudes. You've got everything in the world not handed to you. He worked for it, but I met him when he was 20 something, when they first started. Yeah. And it's amazing. And you can't handle fame, but he had a lot of cool stuff. But you're in your 40s. You think you would have figured it out then. It's sad, dude.
You know what? I loved, people always talk about him in Slipknot. I loved his stuff that he did with Murder Dolls, that he did with Vimic.
Absolutely.
Like, he was an incredible all-around musician.
He really was, dude. I mean, I'm going to say this. There would be no Slipknot if it was not for him. He was the glue. He was the integral part of that. You can yell and scream in a microphone. You can play heavy riffs, but you got to have this. And he was this cool drummer, dude. Me being a drummer, that's what set the band apart. And if you read some of these notes that people talk, and I read a lot of stuff from drummers. And that's what the thing is. Slipknot would not be around without him. He came up with the name. Yep. It was him, and it was him. It was the drumming, dude. That's that, because that metal music needs that behind it. Like I said, you can play riffs all day long, dude, but you put a guy who can put something to that riff, or this beat, you can play something to it. That's the uniqueness of that. And when you listen to these guys, man, behind there, it's incredible what they're doing. And he was an incredible drummer, man. Dude, when you saw Slipknot, remember Tommy Lee doing that thing, going around, doing a somersault.
He's in the cage drum kit that went
and that
turned
was,
upside down.
That was cool, man. That's a show. Joey did something too. But when you watch what Joey did, it's that style of drumming. It's not just pounding four on the floor. And then Tommy Lee had the roller coaster. Yes, he was a pioneer at that crazy shit. But Joey took it to a new level too, man. And I mean, he was a showman, but just the physicality and what he was doing, it was incredible, dude. And the guys knew it. It's a shame, dude.
It really is, man. He's going to be greatly missed, I think. But I think it's some lighter news, something you may be happy about, or you may have heard about, I'm sure, about this coming December, Las Vegas welcoming KISS back for their second residency.
I know.
What do you think?
I know. Well, I think it's interesting. They haven't named the venue.
Yeah.
I believe, but here's the deal. Gene lives here, so we get to see Gene. He was on the news. He was on the news the other day.
He's got the art gallery,
the Venetian. Yeah,
that's right. He's got Gene's art gallery,
and it starts October 14th for anyone out in Vegas. But you can go down there and see his artwork, and I'm sure if you buy something for an exorbitant amount of money, he'll sign the back for you or take a picture with you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But yeah, it's cool, dude. I think it's great. And it is definitely the end. This tour they're doing, it will be the end. And the residency, I think, will cap it off. Will I go? Possibly. I don't know. I have a feeling They may do it at the old joint. It's called the Theater.
Oh,
now.
hold on. I'm seeing here, Gene Simmons actually saying that they're going to be doing it at Zappos Theater at Planet Hollywood starting December 27th.
There it is then.
Yeah.
A lot of shows are happening at Zappos. That's where Britney Spears, that's where she was doing her thing. I saw 9 Inch Nails there.
Nice.
With Vinnie Paul. Geez, it's a great theater, dude. So that's where KISS is doing the residency. It's a soft seater, so it's set up nicely. You can sit and enjoy the show. You don't need to stand. And I'm sure, what do they do in 3 weeks?
It says that starting December 27th, even through New Year's, it'll be through Faces. It's going to be there through February. It's in the middle of the KISS tour that's going on around the world. So obviously this is a bit of a break for them. But yeah, looks like at least 2 months.
Yeah. So what they'll do, maybe a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then take the rest of the week off. Then Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Something nice and easy for Gene.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Don't forget, check out loadedradio.com on a daily basis, because you know what? The news is constantly flowing there. And as well, the radio station is constantly, I guess we're cranking it live out of there too for you, you know?
Yeah, lots going on. Again, as I was saying a few weeks ago, we can beat what's happening, man. Staying positive, music, it's the healer.
As always, you can email us, Scott or Johnny, at loadedradio.com. Let us know whatever we can do for you. And thanks so much for tuning in, and we will talk to you again next week for an all-new edition of the Loaded Radio podcast.
Loaded Radio.